And in other news, CoralCarib, a regional initiative led by the Nature Conservancy, is currently holding a seaweed cultivation training in Belize with 3 other countries participating, learning how to build practical skills in sustainable red seaweed cultivation. Our very own Jo Marie Lanza stopped by the workshop today, and here's what she gathered from the event.
The CoralCarib project that was launched in 2022 was designed with an aim to provide an innovative and science-based path towards coral reef resilience with economic benefits for local communities that are feeling the sting of climate change. Given that the Caribbean itself is home to 10% of the world's coral reefs, with 60% of them spread out across countries like Belize, Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, these countries have partnered to reduce common threats against their coral reefs.
It's an annual planning meeting where we have colleagues from all the 5 countries of implementation get together and really do a quick review of what we accomplished for the past year, and also a plan for the next year. And that's what we did here for the first couple of days. But this year we added a couple of more activities. The second one being a learning exchange with the Super Reefs projects in Belize. And Super Reef is a project focused on also those reefs that are really resilient coral reef ecosystems, but they have a slightly different approach. And that's why we come here to learn their methods. But a third thing that we're doing this year is a training. We have in the Women's Seaweed Association of Belize training our colleagues from all the other countries of the project.
Seaweed aquaculture has gained traction and success within the past year in Belize and was identified as an alternative or a supplemental livelihood for stakeholders like fishermen. Jamaica is hoping that they can replicate the work in their country and provide training on how to establish a seaweed farm.
Belize is one of the regional leaders, especially in fisheries. We hope to get where you guys are. So that's why we jumped on this opportunity. In terms of protection, you guys are one of the forerunners, one of the first persons to declare protected areas, and we're kind of hoping to follow that model. In Jamaica, we've been increasing the number of fish sanctuaries that we have, protected areas in general, with the aim of helping our fisheries to recover. So basically, the seaweed farming offers an alternative sustainable livelihood, and which is what we're promoting. We're trying to reduce the threats to our reef and to our fisheries. And so activities like mariculture, seaweed farming, is one opportunity for fishers to change their livelihoods, move away from the fisheries. We're also promoting other alternative fisheries like pelagic or deep sea fishing. And all of this is just aimed to kind of reduce the pressures on the reef.
Do you think an industry like this would do well in Jamaica?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's the hope that we're having, to bring back some of these skills to our local fishermen and to just give them an alternative opportunity. We're not necessarily trying to stop them fishing. Well, definitely yes, in some areas. But for many of the fishermen in Jamaica, they've been fishing all their life. And so we're not trying to take them away from the seas. We're just trying to offer them an alternative opportunity for livelihood.
Unfortunately, like in any agricultural industry, it's the same in aquaculture. Starting is the hardest part, and a seaweed farm does not exactly appear overnight. You'll learn the ropes as you go along, quite literally, how to tie them and how to keep your seaweed from floating away in the rough waves.
I was discussing with them how we make the ropes, what are the size, the different splices, and then from there on I set out a diagram of the plots that we use to plant our seaweeds. Well, starting off, I didn't really have any challenges with planting the seaweed, prepping the ropes, because I already know how to do splices and things. So when they gave me the opportunity to go on to the farm and work with them and plant seaweed, pretty much it was a great learning process for me. Right now we have 8 plots, 7 plots on the farm and 1 tour plot. So when we go out and we plant, normally it would take 3 months growth time for we to go back and harvest.
For fishers that have spent years relying on the sea for a plentiful catch to feed their families and support their households, the only difficulty that they may face in shifting over to seaweed aquaculture would be that it takes a while to see the product, in comparison to going out to fish and bringing home a product in a day. However, TNC's maricultural specialist says that they see it as keeping the seamen in the sea, something that they are already familiar with, as opposed to other agricultural ventures.
I think the major interest would be, more so for the stakeholders, would be that we're not removing them from the sea. There have been alternative livelihood options in the past where we've experimented, and I use the term experiment because we've tried to ask or encourage fishers to do, for example, pig rearing or venture into agricultural activities, and it didn't really catch on. The hearts of fishers is that they gravitate to the ocean. So if we are asking them to relieve some of the stresses on our commercial species, we would need to identify alternative means of livelihood that does not take them away from the sea. So seaweed aquaculture is one of them. They are still on the water, in the water, which is an integral part of them. So I think that approach is one that I truly appreciate as well, because I consider myself as a water person. So removing me and putting me into the forest, yes, I enjoy it, but I still gravitate to go back to sea.
Jo Mari Lanza, 7 News.